gathered here to not only see the King's last ride, but to witness the crowning of a champion. It's a huge media spectacle. Davey Allison leads the points going into this event, but 5 others are mathematically eligible. Never have so many been so close this late. .38 Special and ESPN salute these wild-eyed boys of NASCAR as time runs out on this Southern Racing Classic. ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. Today, live from Atlanta Motor Speedway near Hampton, Georgia, it's the Hooters 500. A beautiful day here, and the crowd is anticipating perhaps the biggest race in NASCAR history, at least in the modern era. There are fans rooting for their favorite driver, as for the first time in NASCAR history, 6 drivers are eligible for the championship going into this event. The quest for the Cup standings showed Davey Allison on top by 30 over Alan Kulwicki, but also Bill Elliott, Harry Gant, and Kyle Petty are eligible. And then Mark Martin is the 6th driver mathematically capable of taking the championship here today. And good afternoon. Welcome to Atlanta Motor Speedway. We here at ESPN very proud to bring you this final race of the 1992 season as we wrap things up. Not only a championship at stake here today, but perhaps as important, it's the final race for a guy who started his career back in 1958 and has become the king of stock car racing. It's Richard Petty's final ride. Here's more with Jerry Punch.
Bob, I have never seen an atmosphere more electric, more emotion in the air. Richard Petty, last October, a year ago, you announced the Fan Appreciation Tour. Your chance to give something back, but they turned the tables on you. They wanted to say thank you to you. Now, on behalf of us at ESPN and the millions of fans around the world who didn't get a chance, thank you for all the memories.
Well, we thank everybody. It's just been a great, great year. Our race has not been too good, but everything else has been great, and we couldn't have been better from the fans' part of it. You know, I started out to say thank you, fans. Fans come back and said thank you, Richard, and I've enjoyed all 35 years of it. Hope they have.
Richard, we've all enjoyed it. Now, how about today? The STP Pontiac ran well in practice yesterday. Could you possibly give us one more memory?
I'd be asking a little bit much, just to tell you the truth, but you can say one thing. We're going to go out there and try and do the very best we can, and, you know, if the good Lord willing, we'll be right there with them when it's over with.
Good luck to you.
Thank you, man.
Richard Petty, the undisputed king of stock car racing, emotion flowing down here on pit road. Another driver who has to have a head full of emotions is standing by with John Curtin.
Jerry, the whole season has been an emotional roller coaster for Davey Allison. A lot of people say for what he's been through, he deserves to win this championship. And hard work and perseverance have paid off. Davey, you are in the lead heading in here to the last race. How you holding up, buddy?
I'll tell you, John, right now I'm just incredibly nervous. I don't think I've ever been this nervous in my life, but we're excited. A lot of anticipation going around right now. A lot of hard work by this team has paid off to get us to where we are, but we want to earn this championship today.
Well, you're going to have to earn it. The car yesterday running great in the afternoon. In fact, you didn't take it out late, so you must feel pretty good about it.
Well, we ran the early morning practice session, and we ran real good. We were real happy with the way the car drove, and went out in the afternoon practice session, and again, it was really good. We made a couple of minor adjustments, but we think we're in pretty good shape. We just want to have an event-free race, try to stay out of trouble, and be around at the end.
Davey Allison hoping not only to win the race, but also to wrap up the championship, but it won't be easy. He has to finish in at least 5th place to clinch the title.
We finally have a championship that all the drivers have to run as hard as they can go. Don't you think, Ned? They got to go for it.
Oh, yeah, they got to go for the win. And if Davey Allison has a car capable of running in the top 5, he has a car capable of winning the race. So they got to go all out. And, man, that's exciting. Have 6 drivers that are in the championship hunt in the last race of the season. And Richard Petty retiring at the same time.
You must be pretty excited. Ned has lost his voice. He's going to be up here. He's going to try to help us through the day. And, folks, we are entering one of the most exciting races ever in Winston Cup racing.
We've tried to tell ourselves that it's just another race, but it isn't. A lot of pre-race activity has gone on and is going on right now. As you can see, the American flag being brought down by a parachutist. Now, Alabama about ready to sing the national anthem.
And you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
And now, ladies and gentlemen, again, I must ask you to clear the wheel fence. We're only moments away. We'll be going back down trackside for the spectacular words you've been waiting on for the running of the Hooters 500. Everyone, please take a seat in the grandstands. Let's clear pit road. Let's clear pit road, please.
Stand for, Betty.
Betty, start your engine.
That's just a bit of rehearsal going on down there. From Kyle.
Well, there will be 2 gentlemen start your engines given here today. The Petty children have already told Daddy to start his engine. I'm not so sure that he heard the command because he seems to be sitting patiently in his race car. But the other 40 now competitors await the command for them to start their engine as we get set to wrap things up in the 1992 season.
Richard says his only quiet time and time of being alone is when he's strapped down in that race car, and that's exactly where he's at this very moment as we get close to the command. We must clear pit road. A quick reminder.
You can see the tremendous crowd that has gathered here to watch this final event of the year, and there are a lot of people on pit road for the pre-race ceremonies that now must be cleared away before we can start the engines and have the cars move down pit road and then on to this 1.5-mile racetrack to begin 328 laps of competition that will make up the Hooters 500.
Richard Petty says so long as a driver and hello as a car owner.
A final interview going on now as Richard Petty has already got the helmet on, awaiting the word to move out and begin a warm-up lap. Atlanta Motor Speedway has seen many improvements in the last few years, and it has built more grandstands than you can imagine for this event. Last year there were over 122,000 people that attended this race, and many more grandstand sets have been built.
Start your engine!
From inside the pit area, flying over the main grandstand here on the straightaway, and there are some Apache helicopters that will do a flyover in recognition of this race here today. Richard Petty's final ride and the championship decided. The entire eyes of the sports world are focused here today on Atlanta Motor Speedway. And we're glad that you could be part of our ESPN Speed World coverage. Brought to you by Hooters Restaurants, always delightfully tacky yet unrefined. By Valvoline, people who know use Valvoline. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? 41 cars and drivers set to go on this beautiful Sunday afternoon, and we'll have the starting lineup right after this.
Before winter hits hard, get to Sears, America's #1 tire store. For a limited time, all Goodyear tires and all Bridgestone road handlers are on sale at Sears. All-weather Goodyear Arrivas, as low as $19.88, our lowest price ever. Backed by a 55,000-mile warranty. All Goodyear tires and all Bridgestone road handlers on sale.
You can count on me.
At America's #1 tire store, Sears.
4 Apache helicopters hover over Atlanta Motor Speedway as we get set for the Hooters 500. The command to start engines has already been given. The cars are warming up on pit lane, and in just a moment we'll be moving out onto the racetrack for about 3 warm-up laps. Now, here is the die-hard starting lineup on the pole for this event. For the first time in his career and the first driver to crack 180 miles an hour on this facility, Rick Mast in the Flash Foods Skoal Classic Racing. Car number 1. Outside the front row will be Brett Bodine in the number 26 Quaker State Ford. The second row, the defending Winston Cup champion Dale Earnhardt in the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet, car number 3. And then the first of those eligible for the championship here today in the Valvoline Ford, car number 6, Mark Martin. Row number 3, it's Ernie Irvin in the Kodak Film Chevrolet, car number 4. And then the Sunoco Chevrolet, car number 94, driven by Terry Labonte. Dick Trickle will start in 7th position. He drives number 8, the Snickers Ford. Jeff Bodine flanks him in the 4th row in number 15, Motorcraft Ford. Morgan Shepherd starts 9th in the Citgo Ford, car 21. And then the Purolator Chevrolet, car number 10, driven by Derek Cope. Bill Elliott starts 11th in the Budweiser Ford, car number 11, looking for his 2nd Winston Cup championship. Alongside him will be his teammate Sterling Marlin in the Maxwell House Coffee Ford, car number 22. The 7th row, Lake Speed in the Purex Detergent Ford, car number 83, and 2nd in points, Alan Kulwicki in the Hooters Ford, car number 7. The 8th row, it's Rusty Wallace in the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac and Ricky Rudd in the Tide Chevrolet. Davey Allison will start inside of row number 9 in the Texaco Haviland Ford number 28, and then Jimmy Spencer in the Rebestos Ford, car number 12. The 10th row, Hut Strickland, who's driving today the Kellogg's Ford number 41, and then Kyle Petty in the Mellow Yellow Pontiac. And as you look at the rest of the starting lineup, note that Jeff Gordon, who will be making his first Winston Cup start here today, will go from inside row number 11.
And Jeff Gordon has been one of the fastest cars in practice. They were down here last week practicing. Jeff Gordon was fast. He's been fast Friday and Saturday. So maybe we could see something out of the 21-year-old. And I think it's fantastic that Jeff Gordon is running his first race when Richard Petty is running his last race.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, in the testing that they had down here last week, Jeff Gordon did achieve a lap over 181 miles an hour, but he had a few problems in his original qualifying, took the second day qualifying and became the fastest second day qualifier. We have a true oval that we're racing on here this afternoon, kind of unlike most other tracks on the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit of this size, at least. It's 1.5 miles in length. The pole speed is 180.183, a time of 30.409 seconds. We'll go 328 laps this afternoon, and the field is separated by just about 0.8 of a second.
The problem with the racetrack, the corners are so long. Each turn is a half mile. Each straightaway a quarter mile. And there we see pit road, only one pit road on the front straightaway at the start-finish line. There's turns 1 and 2. Once again, a half mile long bank, 24 degrees. Same thing for 3 and 4. So the drivers, we can see the banking at 24 degrees. The straightaways are banked 5 degrees. And Bob, this is a tough racetrack physically on the drivers because of being in the corner so much.
All the drivers will say it's one of the toughest tracks because you are turning almost constantly. The Apache helicopters continue to hover overhead as the field now begins to get in formation. Richard Petty, as he has done at every race this year on the Fan Appreciation Tour, is leading this first parade lap, and then he will fall back into his regularly assigned spot, which today is 39th. And we have an in-car camera riding with the King this afternoon on his final event. There it is, looking out the back to the other 40 starters. Jimmy Hensley will also carry one of our in-car cameras, the Phillips 66 in-car camera, as he is going through the banking in turns number 3 and 4. There's Sterling Marlin in the Maxwell House Ford, car number 22. He also will carry an in-car camera for us here this afternoon.
Yeah, I got you.
There's Mark Martin's car number 6, the Valvoline Ford, with an in-car camera.
Morgan Shepherd will have the roof cam. That ought to be fun.
Ought to be fantastic. And what a crowd we have. Look at the fans. Waving to the drivers as they go down the front straightaway. Now Richard will fall back into his starting position, as you said.
The Apache helicopters now end their hover and begin to chase the field as it goes around this 1.5 mile oval.
I expect the race cars to win this race.
It is quite a spectacle, though, to see all of this pre-race activity and to end the season on this tremendous note. It's been a great season, but to think that we have 6 drivers eligible to win the championship depending upon what happens in the next 328 laps is absolutely unbelievable. Look at the altitude that this helicopter is.
What do you mean altitude?
There's hardly any altitude at all, is there?
Exactly.
He's not more than 25 feet off the ground down the backstretch, now moving up a little bit to clear the grandstands as they fly by us.
When I said they might win this race, I meant when the race cars are up to full speed, not when they're going around a pace lap.
That's right. But the fans are loving it. There isn't a single person gathered here this afternoon who is seated. Everybody is up. Everybody is anticipating the start of the race. And there's a lot at stake money-wise. $778,187 will go to the winner of this event here today. The Unical bonus, if Rick Mast can win, is worth $15,200.
No. The winner won't get $778,000. That's the total purse.
The total purse.
The winner will get about $75,000.
Yeah, pretty good share of it.
Not too bad. And we're also racing for the Winston Cup Point Fund, which is worth $2 or $3 million. So $3 or $4 million at stake today.
Million drivers goes to the champion, of course. One of 6 drivers. There's the in-car camera with the King, Richard Petty. He's fallen back into 39th position now. And in one more lap, we will get this race underway.
Don't you know he's
Okay, guys.
He and Davey Allison. Of course, Richard, I don't think is showing his emotion the way that Davey is. We could tell that Davey, I talked to him earlier, he really is nervous.
It's kind of unusual to hear a driver admit that he is nervous before a race. But if things go the way they tell me they go with race drivers, at this point, now that the car has started, he's within a half lap of going green. He's forgotten all that and is calmed down now and ready to race. The Apache helicopters salute the field now as they fly over the infield, and they will be going on past the second turn, and all eyes will then be focused upon the field.
And they'll go wherever helicopters go.
Yeah, exactly.
Rick Mast winning his very first pole position in Winston Cup competition. 28 drivers have led a lap in 1992, but not Rick Mast. He has not led a race since Darlington in September of last year. Let's see if he does lead lap number 1.
Quite a shock when Rick Mast won the pole position on qualifying Friday afternoon.
The crowd rises to its feet, salutes the field as it comes down. The green flag waves, and the Hooters 500 is underway. In the fence, so is Rick Mast. Oh, no.
Davey got through. Kyle Petty got through. I think I saw Alan Kulwicki on the bottom of the racetrack getting through.
There are 4 or 5 cars that are heavily damaged. The caution flag is Bill Elliott got through.
Then they're racing back to the
Kulwicki.
line. They're racing back to the line, trying to lead a lap. Here they come. Mark Martin trying desperately to lead a lap and get 5 bonus points.
But Dale Earnhardt won't let it.
Rick Mast, the pole sitter, is heavily damaged in the right front and in the right rear of the car. The accident occurred as the cars went into turn number 1 after they had completed just 1 lap. Here's what happened. Bodine was in the lead as they crossed the stripe, but Rick Mast was right there on the outside, and then Brett's car got out from under him.
Got out from under him. Rick Mast spins, and we see all the cars going by on the inside. And Mark Martin, what a great job he's doing saving that automobile. Kulwicki turned the car left. Now here comes, who is that yellow car? Is that 41?
I believe it.
Is that Hud Strickland in the Kellogg's Cornflakes car? We see Kyle Petty going right through the middle of that. Here's another angle. What happens is that Rick Mast on the outside of Brett Bodine takes all the cushion away, and he's not able to get any air.
And Earnhardt ran right up under Brett Bodine, which took the air off the spoiler, and the cushion was gone from the outside. He didn't have anything to lean on.
No, he had no air at all to lean on.
From Airship Shamu hovering overhead. Good perspective of the crash and how most people avoid it. There is Hut Strickland's contact with Brett Bodine.
We see some sheet metal going across, and there is that Rich Bickle. Looks like Rich Bickle spinning out. And there is, looks like maybe Jimmy Spencer also.
Remember now, we have seen Davey Allison, Alan Kulwicki, and Bill Elliott. There is Elliott right behind Morgan Shepherd. All 3 of those cars appear to be okay and did not get involved in the second lap accident here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We'll be right back.
Who's getting happy? Who's having fun? Who's been to Hooters? Come on, everyone, it's at Hooters. Hooters. Hooters makes you happy. Hooters makes you happy. Hooters makes you happy. Hooters makes you happy. Good times, great food, fun music, what a hoot. Hooters. Hooters. Everybody's getting happy at Hooters.
You're about to see a side of Ranger you never expected. Now, all that famous Ford Ranger muscle comes in a body no one can resist. Introducing the '93 Ford Ranger.
Ford trucks, the best, never rest.
Ranger is how tough looks today.
Wall to wall.
NCAA basketball action begins with tournament excitement on ESPN, the NIT. Tournament action tips off with Murray State against Indiana. The NIT, Wednesday night at 7:30 Eastern, live.
ESPN Speed World today at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Hooters 500, the 29th and final race of the 92 season for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. And we've had an accident on the second lap as 6 cars were involved in this incident. Wally Dallenbach Jr. and Rich Bickle spun. 4 others have received some damage. They are Brett, Rick, Hutt, and Jimmy Spencer. Now the exciting Gillette Halfway Challenge is coming up in today's race. The driver leading at the halfway lap will win $10,000, and you, a fan at home, will have a chance to win a beautiful Chevrolet Lumina Z34. If you've entered the contest for this race and your entry is selected and you are called at home, you must name the driver who wins the Gillette Halfway Challenge $10,000 award to be eligible to win the Chevrolet Lumina Z34. Dale Earnhardt is the leader of the race while the cleanup goes on over in turns number 1 and 2.
Let's watch Davey Allison as he goes through the wreck. There's Jimmy Spencer right in front of him. Davey is trying to get his car slowed. Spencer goes high. Davey slows down dramatically. Kyle Petty, Jeff Gordon, that's Jeff in the 24 car. Ted Musgrave comes down. Luckily, he didn't run in the back of Davey Allison. Let's watch Bill Elliott as he gets through the crash. He's following Derek Cope. Sterling Martin. There's Alan Kulwicki right behind him, and they drive into the smoke. See if they had any close calls. Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
In Kulwicki, we saw him just turn left.
Now we have cameras isolated on the 3 main contenders. That's why we can show you how each got through the crash.
Here's Kulwicki. We're on the 7 car. Watch him turn the car left and almost get hit by Ricky Rudd as he turned left. Now they got to worry about the 1 car coming down. Both of them got by.
Dr. Jerry Punch is in Davey Allison's pit.
Guys, a lot of concern down here in Davey Allison's pit. Now, Larry McReynolds behind me has been talking to Davey. Let me kind of grab Joey Knuckles quickly. Joey, the concern is the damage on the left rear. What would that produce due to the car here early in the race?
Well, Jimmy Spencer pulled up there and told us that it's not going to rub. What we're concerned with is the air getting up inside the trunk. The way it's pulled out, it's pulled apart from our crush panel, so that's going to kind of act like a parachute. We'll run till we get a caution. We don't want to pit right now and get at the end of that pack. You know, the good Lord was looking out for us. That's all that happened to us, but we can fix it once we start pitting. We'll just push it in.
And the crush panel now is the panel inside the tire well in the left rear that keeps air from getting inside the tire, and more importantly, inside the trunk that would create a parachute or balloon effect, as he said, and slow the car down drastically. You'll have to run with it for right now and hope for an early caution. Guys?
I tell you, that was a big decision that they had to make. They got a caution right now. This is an early caution, but as Joey Knuckles says, they don't want to go to the rear of the pack here, but still, if that thing should give them any problems at all in the handling, you know, it could come back to bite them.
Once again, here is a replay.
And there's Davey Allison. There's 41 car right behind him, Hud Strickland. Ooh, and Davey backs off. Hud goes in, hits him in the rear.
And that shot Hud down into the 26 car.
Exactly. And I said Jimmy Spencer was in the crash. I think that was Bob Shack instead of Spencer that I saw backed up against the wall.
Well, there's Davey, and there is the damage that you can see on the left rear of that car. Mark Martin has made a pit stop. He's on pit road right now. So is Michael Waltrip. And Jerry, can you see what's going on there?
We can, Bob. They're changing all 4 tires on the Valvoline Ford. They decided that he had run through some debris. Don't want to take any chances here. You know, they're on the radial tires, and it's a very good tire. And as we all know, the radials are very difficult to cut. But they ran across some sheet metal and some sharp objects up there in the turn and said, why take a chance? It's early on. We got a caution. We'll start back here and hope that we'll have no problems and we can pick our way through the field. So possibly a little bit of a gamble early on to come in and change all 4 tires.
Here is a replay from Mark Martin's in-car camera. Let's listen.
I tell you what, folks, that looked like a small wiggle, but that was no small wiggle. That was tough.
Mark Martin makes it through, but makes a pit stop here in the early going. Well, Dale Earnhardt is the leader of the race as we remain under caution here in the Hooters 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
A noble warrior advised, the art of protection springs from within. One must stay vigilant against one's unfragrant perspiration, lest one provoke a hostile response. Thus, a Norse ritual is Right Guard Sports Stick. An aromatic array of the freshest scents and maximum protection against disarming wetness. Confirming the wisdom, the best defense is not to offend. Right Guard Sports Stick. Anything less will be uncivilized.
Mark and my relationship goes way past business. I'm sure in a previous life he and I were twin brothers. Throughout the race, the driver and crew chief communicate. The driver complains about the car or brags about the car. It's the crew chief's job on pit stops to make whatever fixes he can to help the driver's predicament. Everyone has about the same access to equipment and technology, but the people who rub on it the most and think the most of it and think about it the most will end up winning the race.
At Ford, when we test technology, we go by the book. This book, it takes us places that make our Ford trucks even tougher and make our performance for the street even better. Because the more we race, the more we learn. And no one races in more places than Ford. We test our ideas all over the world to make driving better for you at home. Have you driven a Ford lately?
We remain under caution here at Atlanta because of an accident on the second lap involving about 4 or 5 cars. Brett Bodine, the car most heavily damaged. Rick Mass, the pole sitter, also involved. There's a hot air balloon overhead carrying the number 43. And at the conclusion of this event, we urge you to stay tuned for a very special salute. The Portrait of a King, a special program devoted to Richard Petty. It is, believe me, worth staying with us for after this event. Portrait of a King immediately following our live telecast of the Hooters 500. Here's Jerry Punch.
Bob, how quickly fortunes can change for a driver. Rick Mass picking up his first career pole is now behind the wall in the Skoal Classic Olds, and Rick still sitting in the car. Rick, what happened up there?
Jerry, I'm not sure. We're going the corner, you know, the first lap of the race. I'm on the outside of Brett. I don't know what happened. You know, he got into me, but I think something must have happened to him. Somebody got into him or something. I'm not sure. You know, I was trying to stay high, just stay in one groove, so you know, it wouldn't be any problems. Boom, it's over with. We had a good car, but you know, we'll be back from Daytona.
You talk about the emotions. You can see Rick Mass in the car. You can hear it in his voice. They're working on the car, but his day in the sun, guys, his pole, everything he was hoping for is gone.
But we'll remember Rick Mast as being the pole sitter for this historical event here at Atlanta, despite the fact that he is not going to win the race. He was the pole sitter and the first to crack the 180-mile-an-hour barrier officially. There's Davey Allison, and again, note the damage in the left rear of that car. We don't know yet how it's going to affect the handling because we have not been under green since it occurred, but we will be watching it very closely when the green flag does come out. Alan Kulwicki and Bill Elliott are still okay. Their cars were not damaged in that incident. As the cleanup continues down in turn number 1, we'll get some brakes out of the way so we can bring you as much action as we possibly can on this historic day in Atlanta.
It felt like the coldest day of the year. I was all alone with the kids. Then it happened. The heating went out. Mommy, I'm cold. I had to do something fast, and it had to be right. I called my Rheem dealer. He was there in no time. He said he'd take care of the problem and went to work right away. Before long, we had heat. What could have been a very cold day in our lives was made right.
Bud's Heating reminds you that gas is America's best energy value.
Are you searching for a delicious meal in a delightfully unique atmosphere? Then try the Obelisk Billiard Club and Restaurant. Whether you're in the mood for a light snack or a full-course steak dinner, you can get it at Obelisk. Comfortable enough to bring the whole family, you'll find every item on the menu fresh, tasty, and reasonably priced. Enjoy the widescreen TV in the lounge and your favorite beverage before or after billiards. Or just stop by and relax. Obelisk Billiard Club on the corner of Warwick and Denby next to Montgomery Ward. And don't forget to ask for a seat by the pool.
To the year, the world's top 8 players are kicking up a storm in a battle for $2.5 million. The ATP Tour World Championship begins Friday on ESPN.
Joining us today is Airship Shamu. The SeaWorld blimp measures 194 feet in length, 67 feet tall. That's 2/3 the length of a football field and nearly 7 stories high, providing some great shots from overhead. Atlanta focused in right now on King Richard Petty as he gets ready to restart this race, and the word has been given we'll go green next time around.
Now, Richard Petty was one driver. There were many that made pit stops during this caution, Bob. Some were involved over there, some were not. Richard Petty was not, but he did come in for a pit stop, so he's back near the rear of the field.
Dale Earnhardt will lead them down for the restart. Ernie Irvan will go from second position. Lights on top of the pace car are out. Look at how close it was for Dale Earnhardt.
I'm telling you. Oh, man. What was that, inches?
Yeah, if Brett's car had slid just inches to the inside instead of the outside, they would have collected Earnhardt. Dale, by the way, only looking for his second win of the 1992 season, and more importantly, looking to get into the top 10 in the point standings. He goes into this event in 11th position. And so he's trying to make the top 10 so that, among other things, his expenses to the banquet in New York City at the Waldorf Astoria will be paid by NASCAR. Here's the green flag. We're back to racing.
Here they are, 3 abreast coming off the second corner. Kulwicki drove up on the outside of Elliott, made it 3 abreast. Meanwhile, Rusty Wallace trying to get by Kulwicki. That was on the inside of Bill Elliott.
First 4 cars actually have broken away from the rest of the field. There's Bill Elliott and Alan Kulwicki running nose to tail. Sterling Marlin behind Alan.
These cars going in these turns at about 200 miles an hour.
This is from Sterling Marlin's viewpoint as he's right behind Alan Kulwicki coming down the main straightaway into turn number 1 again. Eric Cope and Morgan Shepherd are nearly side by side. Elliott's car slides up the racetrack a little, and Alan Kulwicki moves to the inside.
Eric Cope got a good run going, so does Morgan Shepherd. Here's Kulwicki on the inside of Elliott.
2 of the 3 competitors trying to win the win. Actually, 2 of the 6 that have a mathematical shot, but realistically, only about 3 have a shot at winning the title here. Allison, Elliott, and Kulwicki.
Yeah, those 3 would just about have to fall out of the race for any of the other 3 to have a shot.
John Kernan has a report on Hut Strickland.
Bob, they've just put Hut into an ambulance. They're going to take him to a nearby hospital to check him out further. Hut is able to stand up. He's alert, but his neck is very stiff. He's complaining of a stiff neck, so they're taking him by ambulance to a local hospital, mostly as a precautionary measure. Now, Brett Bodine is still in the infield medical center. They are checking out him, and we'll update you on Brett's condition as soon as we know more.
So Hut Strickland ends his 1992 season on a very sour note, but he has great hopes for 1993 as he'll be involved with the Junior Johnson team and McDonald's sponsorship for the 93 season. Look at this, Morgan Shepherd.
Ooh, he almost collects Elliott.
He had to get all the way out of the gas.
And here's a lead change. Ernie Irvan, Kodak Film Chevrolet, has taken the lead from Earnhardt.
Earnhardt's crew chief, Kirk Shelmerdine, has announced his retirement. This will be his final race as crew chief for the Richard Childress team and Dale Earnhardt. He's not going anywhere else. He's retiring from the business. Right now, Earnhardt is second, following Ernie Irvan. And gentlemen, it's very obvious, I think, to everybody that there is so much emotion, there is so much on the line here that this is going to be an incredible afternoon. And here's evidence of that as Morgan Shepherd got a little sideways.
Same kind of a situation as Brett Bodine and Rick Mast. They go in the corner and there's no air to lean on, no cushion for Morgan Shepherd. That car's on the outside. He loses control, almost loses control, and Elliott had to say, man, and here's the lead change, a replay of the lead change just a moment ago as Ernie Irvin down the front straightaway, position on Earnhardt, takes a spot away.
Ernie continues to hang on to the lead with Earnhardt running in second position. Right behind him, Jeff Bodine is third. Kulwicki is in fourth position. Ernie Irvin is 10th in the point standings, so that's the position that Earnhardt wants.
Tell you what, that red car, Jeff Bodine is gaining on the front too.
Bud Moore's cars always run strong on this racetrack. Remember Morgan Shepherd, let's see, who won in his car here a few years ago? Yeah, Morgan Shepherd did. Yeah,
Ricky Rudd won the race,
and Morgan Shepherd won here.
There's Napa Field summary, the way the cars crossed the line last lap. Jeff Gordon running in 16th position. Interesting statistic, as we mentioned, that Richard Petty is making his 1185th start in NASCAR Winston Cup competition. If the schedule remains the same at 29 or 30 races, Jeff Gordon will start his 1185th NASCAR Winston Cup race when he is 61 years old. Now, Bill Elliott is side by side with his teammate Sterling Marlin in the battle for 6th position.
And if Junior calls Sterling and tells him to back off, I don't think he will.
Junior will not, rather, let's make it Sterling Marlin will not be driving for Junior next year. This is his final race with the Junior Johnson team.
You think it'd be like what Dick Beatty said in the drivers' meeting this morning? Les Richter, the competition director for all of NASCAR, introduced Dick Beatty. Of course, this is Dick Beatty's last race as the competition director for the Winston Cup Series. And he said, no, Beatty was introducing Richter and said, here's my boss. He said, until dark.
There is Davey Allison and Alan Kulwicki.
So this is 1-2. Kulwicki second in the Winston Cup standings. Davey Allison leading. Kulwicki took off like he had a good race car, like he was going to the front. He now is mired down and really can't make the passes.
And Davey's car doesn't appear to be that much affected by the damage in the left rear.
Well, he seems to be able to run with the crowd okay.
There is Bill Elliott and Sterling Marlin. Sterling is 6th, Bill is 7th.
Saw Kulwicki, he was able to get by Ricky Rudd, so he moved up one spot.
5th is Rusty Wallace. 4th is Terry Labonte. 3rd is Jeff Bodine. 2nd is Earnhardt, and the leader is Ernie Irvin. Laps out of 328 have been completed in the Hooters 500 here in Atlanta. We'll be back with more live coverage after this.
This season, Bill Elliott's doing something he's never done before. He's driving the 670 horsepower Budweiser Thunderbird. But only after Junior says it's okay.
Something pure about a real sports coupe. It's one part power, one part control, and one stunningly simple piece of sculpture. And at a time when most sports coupes have sold their soul for a few gadgets, isn't it time for a car like this? The all-new 24-valve Ford Probe GT. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Professional service, a friendly face. That's your Big A Pro.
Big A, the sign that keeps your car running right.
Three-car battle up front in the Hooters 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the finale of the 92 NASCAR Winston Cup season. Irvin, Dale Earnhardt, and Jeff Bodine are first, second, and third. The leader in the points, Davey Allison, is back in 11th position. And if points were awarded right now, Allison would emerge as the champion by 20 over Elliott. As Elliott is now running in 6th, Kulwicki 9th, Kyle 13th, Gant 24th, and Mark Martin 22nd, but Mark Martin is on the move.
Yeah, he made a pit stop during that caution flag and was behind a lot of equipment, but he is definitely on the move.
Now we're riding with Mark Martin as he has chased down this pack.
So he started 40th. He's now up to 17th. That's 16th directly in front of him. Let's watch the telemetry as he goes down the corner. He's accelerating off the corner, 171. Let's just see what kind of miles per hour he'll run at the end of the straightaway. Racetrack, 100 and telemetry is not quite right. 189 miles an hour is the maximum we saw. We'll watch the RPM.
Got up to 190. This is the third fastest racetrack on the schedule next to Talladega and Daytona. Jeff Bodine looks to the inside of Dale Earnhardt coming off the 4th turn.
And both these cars have caught Ernie Irvin, and I think right now they're in the ride mode. I think they're just trying to take it easy. This is a 500-mile race. There's no point in taking too much chances right now.
Jerry Punch has an update on Davey Allison.
Following the damage on Davey's car, the crew just shared with me moments ago, Bob, that Davey said he's got a slight push just coming off the corner. Otherwise, Davey said, hey, guys, we might have gotten very, very lucky. Let's check in down with John Kernan at the hospital. John?
Well, Jerry, some good news for Brett Bodine. Kenny Bernstein, his car owner, just told me moments ago that he is okay, but they will take him to the hospital to check out his head. Kenny said that Brett took a pretty hard hit on his head. They think he's okay. They just want him to go to the hospital just to make sure. So some really encouraging news from the Infield Medical Center.
And so the two drivers that we had medical concern about, Hut Strickland and Brett Bodine, are apparently not seriously injured, although both will be taken to a local hospital. That because of the accident that occurred in turn number 1 at the beginning of lap number 2.
We see that Mark Martin has been able to get by Morgan Shepherd, and Davey Allison, not that many cars in front of him. Davey trying to get by Jerry Cope and Purelator Chevrolet.
Now here comes Kyle Petty.
We saw the damage to the rear of Davey Allison's car that could affect his rear spoiler. Remember, yesterday in the ARCA race, part of the spoiler blew off of an automobile. I guess, who was that? That was Mickey Gibbs' car. Here comes Kulwicki trying to get by Sterling Marlin, the Maxwell House car. And he makes the pass. But part of Mickey Gibbs' spoiler came off when he went down the corner, and around he went. And Davey Allison obviously doesn't have those problems, but it could affect the car. The bent sheet metal in the rear of the Hamlin Ford.
Kulwicki just took 7th position from Sterling Marlin. Riding with Sterling now.
All this fellow's riding up the center to the top of the racetrack. During qualifying, the preferred groove on the bottom of the racetrack. As the tires get worn, they move up the racetrack.
Looking for Davey Allison. Here he comes out of the pack to try to pass Jeff Gordon in the number 24 car.
And Mark Martin has gotten by Davey Allison. He has passed him. He is marching towards the front fast in that 6th Valvoline Ford, that blue and white car. Right in the center of the screen. That's Mark Martin. Seems to have one of the fastest cars on the track now. He's jammed up in traffic, can't get by.
Yeah, those cars have run side by side. Derek Cope and Kyle Petty for about 4 laps now. Mark just doesn't have anywhere to go. He doesn't know which one to follow.
Kyle inches ahead now of Derek Cope in the 3rd turn, but Cope battles back on the outside. There come 3 wide. Look at Mark Martin, his car below the white line. Wow. Jeff Gordon is tucked right in behind Mark Martin while Davey is drafting on Kyle Petty.
And Davey has got by Jeff Gordon on the outside. That's Kenny Schrader, the white car, right in the middle of the screen.
And Lake Speed also. Morgan Shepherd is in this group.
Davey tries to go by on the outside of Kyle Petty.
One thing about Atlanta, it's a mile and a half, and there's a lot of corner, but the turns are wide enough so you can ride 2 and 3 and sometimes even 4 abreast from here.
Yes, you can. And here goes Mark Martin. Now he's trying to get by Derek Cope. Is he going to have any more luck than Kyle Petty did? Let's see.
Boy, Cope is having a good run, and maybe he has something to prove. He is back with the Whitcomb team in '93. Now, this pack that we're watching is about a half a lap behind those running up front, including Ernie Irvin, Dale Earnhardt, and Jeff Bodine.
Dale Earnhardt has taken over the lead now and pulled away a little bit from Ernie Irvin.
Here's Martin once again trying. He's clear of him now. Three of those cars that you see in the top 6 in the Winston Cup point standings: Mark Martin, Kyle Petty, and Davey Allison. That's Kyle Petty, the green and black car on the bottom.
Mark Martin has moved into 11th, and that's how far they are behind those that are running up front. There is King Richard Petty.
About to go a lap down to Earnhardt. There's the leader, Dale Earnhardt, directly behind Richard. We're looking at the camera atop Richard Petty's STP Pontiac. And we see Earnhardt has pulled out to a 15-20 car length advantage on Ernie Irvin.
He found that high groove about 15 laps ago, Benny, and it's working for him. The way his car is set up right now, Earnhardt just took off.
So Dale Earnhardt is leading the Hooters 500 with Richard Petty down a lap now. Irvin, Bodine, Wallace, and Elliott complete the top 5.
Hi, I'm Terry Johnson. The building behind us has over 100 tons of heating and air conditioning equipment by Lennox and Artemis Incorporated. Let us put this expertise to work for you. Call me at 873-0345 or drop by our Oyster Point office and hear the whole Art Newsom Lennox story.
It felt like the coldest day of the year. I was all alone with the kids. Then it happened. The heating went out. Mommy, I'm cold. I had to do something fast, and it had to be right. I called my ream dealer. He was there in no time. He said he'd take care of the problem and went to work right away. Before long, we had heat. What could have been a very cold day in our lives was made right.
More people come home to the warmth and comfort of gas, America's best energy value.
The Bronco explode on Sunday nights. In your face. Bob Golan. Where can I see shocking Raiders? In your face. ESPN Sunday Night NFL. Every week, it's where the best go face to face. In your face. In your face.
When the moon comes out, ESPN is in your face.
ESPN Sunday Night NFL.
We have cameras everywhere at Atlanta Motor Speedway as we televise this final Winston Cup race of the year, watching the suspension on Mark Martin's car.
takes a beating, doesn't it?
It does take a beating. It never stops going up and down, up and down.
And now on Jimmy Hensley's car.
It's a rear tire here. And again, once again, it's going up and down. Never stops. We can see through the wheel.
And how about Morgan Shepherd? And this is interesting that the sponsors have managed to find where we have our cameras and put their signature on it.
I tell you what, Ned, that's a trick spring there. I've never seen a spring like that in a rear car.
I didn't know Sit-N-Go made a spring.
No, I didn't.
The top five: Dale Earnhardt, Ernie Irvan, Jeff Bodine, Rusty Wallace, and Bill Elliott, as 44 of 328 laps have been completed. Points as of now, look how close it is. 4 separating Allison and Kulwicki. Elliott is third in the points if they were to be awarded right now, but we've got a long way to go. And Ernie Irvan has caught Dale Earnhardt. Dale was several car lengths ahead a few laps ago, and Ernie now has caught up with him.
Well, I think Ned pointed out that Dale Earnhardt started running the high groove and was able to pass Ernie Irvan. Irvan saw Earnhardt up there and said, hey, I think I'll venture up and see what's happening up there. When he did that, he closed up on the back bumper of Dale Earnhardt. Now, Jeff Bodine has been running on the bottom of the racetrack. He's ventured up to the top of the racetrack, and he seems to be getting a little closer. Well, we see him on the bottom right there, but he's closed up on the back bumper of Irvan, or almost on the back bumper.
Jimmy Means goes a lap down in the Hurley limo car. Sponsorship on that this week. That's the black car there at the bottom of the racetrack.
There's Rich Bickle on the black and green car that Earnhardt's going by. There goes Rusty Wallace. There's Bill Elliott. Got a good run going in the same straightaway.
So certainly among those eligible for the championship, Bill is furthest up in the standings right now and having the best run, but
I think Kulwicki is just one position behind Bill. Yes, that's correct. We don't see him in the picture, but he is the next car behind Bill Elliott. So right now, Kulwicki is in front of Elliott as far as points are concerned.
before. In 1988, he won the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. So in that respect, he is a veteran, so to speak. And there is Alan Kulwicki.
And Irvin tries to get on the inside of Earnhardt down in 1 and 2. Not able to make it. And I tell you what, Jeff Bodine has caught this duo.
Jeff is hanging in there in third spot. There he is, running the low part of the track.
I saw him high down in 1 and 2. Here goes Davey Allison trying to get by Sterling Marlin. But you see, now he is driving defense. Oh, there's that car down there, Jimmy Horton. The Active Racing Chevrolet was on the bottom of the racetrack. That's why Davey backed off.
Yeah, he didn't need to get in there and get himself in a position like
Jerry O'Neill,
ran up on a car, ran into it.
And they're in the leader, so Davey almost exactly a half a lap down. Here's Irvin once again. Jeff Stewart, now he is back on the bottom of the racetrack. Here he comes on the bottom.
Especially in turns 1 and 2, the bottom groove is working for some drivers, Benny. But the cars on the outside have the momentum once they come off of that turn and shoot down that backstretch in a hurry.
Jeff pulls alongside Ernie in the third turn and passes him. Let's see if he can make it stick. Yeah, he will be able to. Bodine takes over second spot, dropping Ernie Irvan to third. Davey Allison picks up another position, or at least is trying desperately to. And of course, is Sterling Marlin on the outside.
Ooh, that's close, close, close. Davey did clear him.
Yep. Ken Schrader also there in the battle with now Sterling Marlin.
He started pretty far back in the field and is moving on up through there. He started in 23rd position, now in 14th.
And Schrader passes Sterling Marlin. You got a shot there as Davey was close to Sterling Marlin of the damage that was sustained by the Texaco Havoline Ford in that that second lap crash. Now, Jeff Bodine would like to lead this race. Drops to the inside, but cannot have the momentum to pass.
Boy, running two distinct different grooves around the racetrack. Earnhardt high on the racetrack. Bodine on the bottom. They could run around this racetrack and never touch. And run almost at top speed in both cars.
Jeff Bodine is trying to lead his 5th race of 1992. He has not led since he won 2 races in a row at Martinsville and North Wilkesboro.
He moves up high again. It just looks like right now these 3 cars evenly matched. Talking about Earnhardt in the black number 3, Jeff Bodine, the red 15, Ernie Irvin, the yellow number 4.
Jerry Punch has a comment on Dale Earnhardt.
Guys, Richard Childress just told me a minute ago that Earnhardt radioed to crew that he thinks he may have broken a valve spring. The car is beginning to flutter a little bit, not running as strong as it was early on. He's running awfully well, but since the car is starting to flutter a little more, you won't know when they make their first pit stop, which should be in about 6 or 7 laps.
Well, I could believe that because what Earnhardt has done when he's moved up high on the racetrack, he's made it a larger racetrack, so the RPMs are going to be excessive, which the first thing on high RPMs, the first thing you break is a valve spring.
We'll watch the situation very closely regarding the driver who now leads the Hooters 500, Dale Earnhardt. We'll be back with more in just a moment at Atlanta.
What does a high-speed turn at Daytona have to do with a left turn on Elm Street? At Ford, we race more to learn more about things like safety. Because there's nothing like hugging a wall at 200 miles an hour to learn how to improve crosswind stability. Or racing in a crowd to learn about safer, more responsive handling. And what we learn in this rush hour traffic, you can use in yours. Have you driven a Ford lately?
When Darrell Waltrip needs a part, he needs the right part, and he needs it fast.
And when you need parts, see the parts team at Western Auto. We've got top name brands and thousands of parts in stock. Right, guys?
Right, DW.
And we've got the right price, backed by our low price guarantee, right?
Right, DW. And pick up a Whistler 680 tri-band radar detector or 525 auto security system for just $79.99.
Western Auto, the official auto parts and service store of NASCAR. Right, guys?
Right, DW.
Al Unser Jr. knows what it's like to win the Indianapolis 500 with 0.04 of a second to spare. Mark Martin knows if he lets someone cross his wake at 200 miles per hour, his car may be doing the lambada. And Joe Amato knows that at 296 miles per hour, he must pull his chute at precisely the right moment to keep from becoming an astronaut. Apparently, it is what you know.
Saturday, teams explode in a rivalry weekend. Penn State tries to tear a pit, and USC visits UCLA.
College football on ESPN in a class by itself.
Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway. Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace almost contact on pit road. Earnhardt has run out of fuel. He radioed the crew just a moment ago, said the fuel pressure gauge has fluctuated. Guys, I got to come in now. And Rusty Wallace is pushing him, trying to get him in assistance down pit road. They are running very, very slowly, and Earnhardt is totally out of fuel. The car number 3 is not running. He is coasting down pit road. Richard Childress and the crew standing here with a bottle of ether to try to get the car refired. And now it quietly, can you believe the luck that Dale Earnhardt has had in 1992? The Goodrich crew goes to work. They will change all 4 tires down here. And Kyle Petty is making an entrance on the pit road. Let's go to John Kernan.
Jerry, they've already done right side tires, left side what's going on. Kyle gets down and away, a pretty fast pit stop for the Mellow Yellow crew. Back down pit road to Jerry Punch.
Work going on the right side and left side of the Kodak Film Chevrolet for Ernie Irvin, who would have been the lead car. They put right side tires on, the crew scampering around. They are pushing Dale Earnhardt's car. Trying to get that car fired, and now Earnhardt's car does refire as the Pure Leader car goes by. The car number 4 going out carries Jeff has spun. The Pennzoil Pontiac has spun. We should be seeing caution here at Atlanta.
We do see caution. Doyle Ford is waving the caution flag because of Michael Waltrip's spin.
Unbelievable. All these guys ran out of fuel, and before some of the cars could make their pit stop, the caution comes out as Michael Waltrip, the Pennzoil Pontiac, comes off the corner, and around he goes.
No contact with any other driver. The car just broke loose at the top of the racetrack in turn 2, and then he backed it into the wall on the back stretch, and then may have made contact. Don't think he did, but you can see the left front tire below there.
But boy, these points leaders, did they get Bill Elliott, Davey Allison, Alan Kulwicki had not made their pit stops. These fellas have got several of good cars a lap down now. Man, Elliott is leading the race. That's 5 bonus points.
That helps him close the gap. Trying to win his second Winston Cup championship. There he is, Bill Elliott leading the race. Second is Alan Kulwicki.
Now then, when they make their pit stop, will Davey stay on the racetrack, lead the race, and get 5 bonus points? Will Kulwicki? What do you think?
Well, I don't know. They're going to be giving up a lot of track position.
I know they are. Let's see how this plays out.
And
boy, don't you know these radios are going back and forth. What do we do? What do we do? Hey, guys, make that call. I'm not going. Here comes Bill. Here comes Alan.
Let's see what Davey does. Davey's to the inside. Yeah, he's coming in. Mark Martin is in. Ricky Rudd and others. Very slowly down pit road.
Cars that you see coming down pit road had not pitted. Jerry Punch, here they come.
And Alan Kulwicki's Hooters crew will go to work on that car. Car number 7 on the bottom of your screen. You're watching the Haviland crew on the top of your screen. 2 competing teams trying to win a race and win a championship. Watching the Haviland crew now. Right side, tires already going on. Left side, lug nuts coming off. They have fueled the car. They have yet to work on that body damage on the left rear of the Haviland car. Meanwhile, Alan Kulwicki cannot get his car in gear. Finally gets in gear. The car number 11 exits pit road. That is the Budweiser car, Bill Elliott. And now Davey Allison heads back to turn 1.
Alan Kulwicki had exactly that same problem in Charlotte during the running of the Mellow Yellow 500. Made the pit stop. When they let the jack down, he let the clutch out. The car would not move. Can't imagine what's wrong with that car, but he had exactly the same problem in Charlotte.
Elliott was the first to get off pit road.
And Kyle Petty, according to my calculations here, gentlemen, is the only driver of the 6 who are in the points chase who had made a green flag pit stop. He was coming out of the pits just as the caution was coming out.
Certainly it hurt Kyle Petty's chances of winning the championship here this afternoon. But again, we've got a long way to go as the second caution waves over Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Explain it. You're kind of in a limbo zone. Time's different, speed's different, everything works different. It sounds totally cosmic. It's out there somewhere.
Kyle Petty and Mellow Yellow. There's nothing mellow about them.
This high-performance drink cleans your fuel system to help maintain peak performance. STP gas treatment, the high-performance drink for your car.
Over 1 million people each week walk into AutoZone, and taking care of them means having what they need when they need it. That means stocking a lot of parts for a lot of cars. Now, nobody can stock everything, but we stock more than most. And how do we know which ones to carry? That's easy. We listen to our customers. Because nobody knows better about what you want than you. So the next time you walk through that door, you might think of yourself as a customer. But we think of you as the boss.
King Richard Petty in his final NASCAR Winston Cup race is currently in 26th position. 65 starts here in Atlanta, 6 wins, 22 top 5 finishes. And we now recall another magical moment in Richard Petty's history in this Petty memory.
This Richard Petty memory is brought to you by the First Brands Corporation, makers of STP gas treatment. 1979, the championship is on the line between Richard Petty and Darrell Waltrip at Ontario, California. But the King collects his 7th title in what may have been his most challenging crown.
The most gratifying would have been the 7th championship in '79. It came down to the last race at California, at Ontario, California, and I think he was 3 points ahead of us or something like that, where one position would make a difference. It was a deal that Buddy Baker, I think, had sit on pole, or he was up front and I was up front qualifying. And Buddy told me, he said, we get out in front here right early, he said, I'll pull over and let you go and you get 5 points, so you'll get back in front of the point deal. So Darrell sort of seen what we was doing then, because then he's 2 points behind. So when they have the caution flag, then Darrell stays out to get his 5 points back. Well, when he does that, then when he does make his pit stop, he gets in the back of the line. Then somebody spins out and Darrell's got to spin to miss him. He winds up losing a lap, and we wind up winning the point standing by 11 points or something like that.
He's back. This time we get him. STP gas treatment. Cleans intake valves and fuel injectors to help engines run better. STP, the edge.
Now you can own the definitive documentary on the King. A production as hard driving as the man himself, Richard Petty, the legend. This limited edition 2-volume home video is sure to become a collector's item. You'll see all of the highlights from the greatest career in stock car racing history. 7 NASCAR championships, 7 Daytona 500 wins, 200 wins in all. But you'll also see Richard Petty, the businessman and family man, including never-before-seen home movies from the Petty's personal collection. Along with your video, you'll also receive this limited edition Petty collector's car. And if you order now, you'll also receive this free commemorative poster. To order, call 1-800-547-4343 or send $38.95 plus $5 shipping and handling to Richard Petty, the legend. 805B Franklin Court, Marietta, Georgia 30067.
Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and we are getting set to go green, but boy, the field looks pretty ragged, doesn't it?
Yeah,
They're not going to start them. They're not going to start them.
No, they can't start them this way. See what happened? There were some of those drivers that had made pit stops under the green. They did not come in now. Bill Elliott is the leader of the race, but there's about 4 or 5 cars in front of him that technically are in the lead lap. Elliott was trying to pull up on the outside. He can't do that. He's got to line up behind those drivers who are still in the lead lap in front of him.
See, Earnhardt is a lap down.
He's 2 laps down.
He's 2 laps down. I mean, he's a lap down, and 2 laps down once the leader should go by.
Does Alan Kulwicki have a problem, Jerry?
Bob, let's find out. We heard Alan having trouble leaving pit road. Danny Glad, is there a problem in the transmission?
Yeah, Jerry, the problem we run into is on these bigger racetracks where we have to run a taller rear-end ratio. We have to run a lower first gear to get the car moving, and it's a brittle gear. They make a real expensive gear just for the application. We run it, but it's just a very brittle, it's hard on it. And we tore first gear out of the transmission. We'll have to leave the pit road in second gear, but we'll be all right.
Alan Kulwicki minus first gear, guys, early on.
Let's take a look at the top 5 now. After 68 laps, it's Elliott leading. Kulwicki is second, followed by Ricky Rudd, Mark Martin, and Harry Gant. Now, the points as of this moment. Allison is in 6th position, but still maintains the points lead. Kulwicki is second, only 10 behind, and Bill Elliott is the leader of the race, and Elliott Kulwicki right now tied in the points. Back for the start after this.
My brother, about to become a father.
So how big can a crib be? Season tickets went on sale today, Mike. Yeah, well, maybe next year. You've gone 5 years straight.
Yeah.
Is this about the kid? This kid's getting for free, you know. He's gonna be a little tight. Mike, this year's on me.
Only one beer has the taste
taste as genuine as the people who drink it. Budweiser.
Now, the new little guy's going to every game, right?
Bobby, it could be a girl.
Girl.
Mark and my relationship goes way past business. I'm sure in a previous life, he and I were twin brothers. Throughout the race, the driver and crew chief communicate. The driver complains about the car or brags about the car. It's the crew chief's job on pit stops to make whatever fixes he can to help the driver's predicament. Everyone has about the same access to equipment and technology, but the people who rub on it the most and think the most of it and think about it the most will end up winning the race.
Folks in these parts think Tom Lawton is the best thing to ever turn a wrench. But back east, they'll put their money down on the guys at McClellan's. It seems in every town there's always one place that does a little bit better job fixing your car. And it seems the things they all have in common are great mechanics, great service, and Napa parts. Look for the sign of quality car repair. Napa.
Bob Jenkins, Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, Jerry Punch, and John Kernan welcome you back to Atlanta Motor Speedway, where we are about to go green as the largest sports crowd in Georgia history looks on. Restarting the Hooters 500, the final race of the 1992 NASCAR Winston Cup Series.
You wouldn't believe the guy running about 10th is leading the race, but that's what's happening. Bill Elliott is the leader, and all these cars in front of Elliott laps down, trying to stay on the tail of the lead lane, and hope the caution flag comes out so they can get that lap back. And once again, gas has played into Bill Elliott's hands. Remember in the spring, he did not have the best car here, but he won the race because he stretched the fuel stop and caught all the other guys in the pits and a lap down.
Admittedly, Bill Elliott had about a 7th or 8th place finish car, but he played it very smart. He and the Junior Johnson team, they stayed out as long as they could, caught the yellow that they needed. That allowed Bill Elliott to win one of his 4 races in the early part of the 92 season.
Meanwhile, as we watch this, Ernie Irvin is driven by Dale Earnhardt. Remember how they led the race earlier on?
Here is Alan Kulwicki going to the inside of Bill, and this is the battle for the lead. And I believe Alan Kulwicki would get 5 bonus points for leading that lap. He was slightly ahead of Bill when they crossed the line.
And the point and the scoring stand is here at the start-finish line in Atlanta. If the scoring stand is another location, now here comes Rudd on the outside of Kulwicki.
Well, he will get credit for leading that lap, and thus has led in 20 races during the 1992 season, more than any other driver.
As I started to say, some racetracks have the scoring stand at different locations, and it does not matter if it's a start-finish line. It's at the scoring stand, the individual. There's Davey Allison, their points leader. Davey Allison right now is running in 6th spot.
This is from Morgan Shepherd's roof cam. Good documentation of the damage there on the left rear of Davey's car, sustained in that second lap accident that took out Brett Bodine, Hunt Strickland, and sent them to local hospitals, but they are not seriously injured. At least that is the preliminary report. There's Harry Gann right ahead of Davey, and Harry is another one of those 6 that has a mathematical shot at the championship, but the word is that Harry is not feeling well. He has the flu and may, at some point, get relief. John?
Well, you're exactly right, Bob. I was talking with his car owner, Leo Jackson, this morning. He said the car was great, everything was great. The only thing that worried him, Harry had been sick all weekend with the flu. During that last caution period after making the pit stop, Harry radioed back in and said, hey, you might want to think about going and finding my Skoll teammate Rick Mast to see if he will relief drive for me if it gets to that point. But complicating that factor is the fact that Rick has finally got his car put back together. Rick is back out there on the racetrack. So Harry's hanging with it right now. There is no relief driver yet who's reported to his pit area, but we will keep you apprised of the situation.
Rick Mast is on the racetrack. He's going very slowly. He was the point sitter of this race, certainly not on pace, but just trying to pick up some points in the standings. Looking back on Davey Allison from Richard Petty. guys have had the experience of watching that car either run in front of you, behind you, but probably more than not ahead of you.
Most of the time in front of me, yeah.
He was always right there.
As we watch Petty and Harry again, once again now Earnhardt, who's gotten back by Ernie Irvin, so he'll get their own little more moment up front. Harry again is fourth in the points and is 97 points behind. But right now he is behind the three front runners on the racetrack. There's their lead of the race, Bill Elliott. Your second place car, Alan Kulwicki. If Kulwicki could get in front, lead a lap and go on and lead the most lap, put a lot of pressure on Davey Allison.
Kulwicki leads that lap, but again, he's already picked up the 5 bonus points. And this is neat, gentlemen, seeing these two battle for the lead. As you pointed out so accurately in your stand-up opens, that we're not going to see any stroking today. No driver is going to run for 11th or better or 15th or better. All of these drivers that are in the hunt for the championship are flat out today.
And we see Mark Martin coming in the mix. He's had an awfully fast race car all afternoon so far.
And another one of the 6 eligible, or at least mathematically eligible to win the title. Look at Mark come up.
Look at him come up on these two. Wow.
Another lap of field summary.
When he came up behind Kulwicki, got Allen just a little bit loose. Kulwicki had to squeeze out of the gas. He tried it one more time.
Watch them go high. Mark coming in under them. Man.
3 wide and 4. Martin may have the lead.
Let's see, here he comes.
Nope. Elliott led at the line. 23 cars remain on the lead lap.
Watch Mark go by Bill Elliott and take the lead. Is he in the lead? Yes.
Sure is.
He's not a guy who made one of those early pit stops.
And a car goes slowly on the racetrack. That's Bob Shack to number 57.
He's down in turn 1, so he will not be able to get back. So he, as a matter of fact, this car just stopped. The caution flag will be coming out in just a moment.
There's going to be a break for about 5 guys right up in front of Mark Martin. He is bearing down on him. But if the caution comes out, they're going to get to go around, and that would be Dale Earnhardt, Ernie Irvin, and the caution is out. Jeff Bodine, Rusty Wallace, and Terry Labonte get a break here.
It's the 3rd caution period of the day. There you can see Mark Martin signaling to the drivers behind him that the caution is out. These cars that are running ahead of Mark Martin will be able to encircle the entire racetrack.
What happens is that pace car pulls on the racetrack in front of the leader of the race, Mark Martin, and everyone catches up to Mark Martin. So if Martin is the leader, all the fellows in front of him get to go all the way around the racetrack and make up basically a mile and a half.
There's the reason for the caution, the stall car of Bob Shack at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We'll be right back.
Silver summer. Silver time, silver line girl in the silver suit, look so fine. Look so fine. Silver bottom, silver top, silver fish, silver wish come from here, right from here. Ooh, and it tastes so good. Good life is alright here now. Good life is alright here now.
Everything for the race fan. Victory Lane Race Fan Store. It's like being on the team.
The stars come out on Sunday nights. In your face. 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 When the stars come out, ESPN is in your face.
ESPN Sunday night NFL.
The Giants battle the Broncos. Sunday night at 8 Eastern.
ESPN Speed World today at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Hooters 500, the finale of the 1992 NASCAR Winston Cup season. We are under our third caution period of the day because of Bob Shack's stalled car. And the field now on the backstretch, but this is how they came out of the pit area after their pit stops.
First car we see on the end of pit road is Mark Martin. All these other cars coming in the pits. Jimmy Spencer was going out of the pits. Davey Allison comes out in first. Davey Allison is going to lead this race, Ned.
And
Davey Allison going to pick up 5 bonus points. So evidently they changed 2 tires or something to get him back out in front.
I think they did. Well, tonight here on ESPN, it's the battle of the New York Giants against the Denver Broncos. The AFC West leading Broncos, led by strong-arm quarterback John Elway, take on the 5-4 New York Giants, who are battling to capture an NFC wild card. 8 o'clock tonight, 5 on the West Coast, the Giants and the Broncos. NFL Sunday Night Football here on ESPN. Once again, today's race includes the Gillette Halfway Challenge. $10,000 to the driver leading the halfway lap, and a lucky fan at home could win a new Chevrolet Lumina Z34. If you have entered the contest for this race and your entry is selected and you are called at home, you must name the driver who won the Gillette Halfway Challenge $10,000 reward to win the Chevrolet Lumina Z34. Now, let me tell you that the drivers that made up a lap, including Ernie Irvan, the 3-car of Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, Terry Labonte, and Jeff Bodine.
And there we see Bob Shack's car. They got the car started. Now he's come to a stop again at the start-finish line, so they got to get a wrecker out to push him up. And we see the Goodyear tires, the yellow. The Goodyear now is in yellow instead of the white we've seen for the last 15 years. So if you see these cars going down a racetrack and see yellow paint, it didn't come off of another race car. It came off. The tires are now yellow.
Here's Jerry Punch.
Guys, answering your question, Davey Allison did change just 2 tires, 2 right-side tires. That'll explain that quick pit stop. And also explaining Alan Kulwicki's problem. He does not have first gear, as you heard Danny Glad say. And remember, NASCAR rules prohibit a crew from pushing a car out of the pits. It's a safety move, but NASCAR will allow you to push a car if you've lost a gear. So they've now given the Kulwicki crew a chance to push their car out of the pits, and that probably saved Kulwicki maybe 5 or 6 seconds getting the car moving here on this pit stop.
Well, they were holding Bob Shack's car at the starting line. It did not stall. They were just holding it until the field came around. So we are still under our third caution of the day, and we'll return with more live action right after these messages.
Richard Petty, the only driver ever to win 200 Winston Cup races, all on champion spark plugs.
Jerry, your help out here really does make a difference in the way I run.
Well, Richard, this is our testing ground. It makes a difference in the way we build our spark plugs, too.
They work for me in both my cars, whether I'm racing or going home. I depend on Champion spark plugs.
Champion, no matter what you drive.
All of these championship-winning drivers have one thing in common: Goodyear Racing Eagles. The race-winning technology that's found in the Goodyear Racing Eagles can also be found in the world's best-selling line of high-performance street tires, Goodyear Eagle Street Radials. The champions know, and it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
The available anti-lock brakes on the new Geo Prism can help you negotiate driving hazards during hard braking. And every new Prism comes with a driver's side airbag, which we'd also be happy to demonstrate. But you've seen all that before. Besides, why ruin such a beautiful car? Get to know the newest Geo Prism, at your Chevrolet Geo dealers.
It's not a question of if your favorite team will lose a player. It's a question of who. Will it be the high-priced superstar or the young phenom down on the farm? The Major League Baseball Expansion Draft, Tuesday on ESPN.
The final race for King Richard Petty and the decision on who wins the Winston Cup Championship for 1992. Here today at the Hooters 500, live from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Our Speed World coverage is being brought to you by the Heartbeat of America, Chevrolet, and your local Chevy dealer. And by Goodyear, #1 in tires. Well, the number 11 car of Bill Elliott, the 7 car of Alan Kulwicki, and the 28 car of Davey Allison, the top 3 in the points, have now each led a lap, and so each has picked up the 5 bonus points.
So they're back where they started.
They're right back where they started, exactly.
Here comes the restart now. The green flag waves.
And Jimmy Hensley's in second place. The Trump Arctic Ford.
Martin third, Harry Gant fourth, and Elliott is 5th.
Here comes Kyle Petty, the mellow yellow Pontiac, trying to get a lap back, trying to get by Davey Allison.
Kyle, of course, was one of those drivers that made a green flag pit stop just before the second caution came out. Dale Jarrett right there, he also was one of those drivers. But Martin's going to take care of both of them.
Ahead of Davey Allison, trying to get that lap back. We're watching from Mark Martin's car as he tries to take the lead.
Kyle Petty gets by Davey Allison, moves up in front of him, and now here comes Martin trying to take the lead back. Kyle Petty is 5th in points, Martin is 6th in points.
So they're involved in a battle of their own somewhat, although again, Kyle is now at the tail end of the lead lap. The lap that Mark Martin leads.
15 points separating the two, Kyle Petty and Mark Martin.
Harry Gant now is 3rd, just behind Davey Allison.
Okay, Harry looks pretty racy right there at the moment.
Here comes Earnhardt. He's still a lap down, but he's mowing him down. He's by Hensley.
There's Ricky Rudd in a 5 car, the 66 of Hensley, and Jeff Gordon in 24. This is the car that Jeff will be running all year next year, the same colors, DuPont. And by the way, Jeff Gordon has a $100,000 bonus if he can win this race today. Morgan Shepherd slowing from the roof cam. You can see how the car is not on pace.
No, he's way off the pace, Bob. He's heading into turn number 3 there right now. You see how far the leaders are out in front of him. Here's Davey Allison now trying to move around Kyle Petty. Mark Martin already put Kyle that lap down.
And Harry Gant, who was reported to be suffering from the flu, does not appear to be suffering all that much. He's running a strong 3rd.
And he and Kyle Petty are 1 point apart. Gant's in 4th, Kyle Petty 5th in the point standings, and only 1 point separating the two.
And it's a difference at the banquet of $35,000.
Oh, that's nothing.
Maybe not in your world it isn't, but
the difference in 1st and 2nd is 670. Oh, a crash down the front straightaway.
Ken Schrader, Wally Dallenbach,
Darrell Waltrip's involved.
And Richard Petty is flaming going into turn number 1.
He's knocked the oil cooler off his car, and the oil is on fire.
Richard Petty, the car is on fire. Petty has got the car stopped.
Get her in the fucking fire. It'll go out. Fire extinguisher. It'll go out. That was Richard yelling to his crew, get a fire extinguisher down here.
Yeah, they got I pulled up to the fire truck.
Richard said, I pulled to the fire truck.
Well, I'll tell you, that's a great presence of mind, right?
And what a way for the career of Richard Petty to end. Let's not say right now, though, that his race is over. They could get the car back going, but I doubt it.
Once again, Bill Elliott got through a crash. I didn't see what happened in the crash. I just looked up and saw stuff flying.
Yeah, Bill was up in front of it.
Davey Allison was in front of the crash. Should have been about mid-pack, I guess. Because Dick Tripp, one of the cars in the crash, was running 10th before the before the crash. There's Darrell Waltrip. We can see some heavy damage to the Western Auto Chevrolet.
Now the 3 cars here on the main straightaway and into turn 1 are Dick Trickle, Ken Schrader, and Wally Dallenbach, and then Richard Petty's car is down in the turn as there is the King out of the car. And this may be the final farewell.
But thank God he was able to walk away from it and wave to the fans.
But you know, they ought to take the King back to the garage here and something better than a record.
Yeah, you're right about that. It's not a good way to end a career that has been so great. Now here's the crash. That's Trickle.
Ooh,
look at Dallenbach get bumped around.
And there's Richard Petty going in and hitting Darrell Waltrip. Looks like the rest of these cars able to slow down without too much trouble. And Richard driving down to the fire truck, like he said. There's an oil cooler up there, as I said, right behind the left front fender. That was the hood I saw going up in the air. That
was that your eye level?
Yeah, right when the crash started.
Came off of Schrader's car, did it?
Not sure. I think so, yes.
Well, it almost blocked the track there for a moment.
I would guess that someone came off the corner on the outside of another car and the fellow didn't know he was there. Made contact. And I don't...
6 cars involved in the crash, and it's going to take a while to clean it up because there are a lot of damaged race cars and a lot of debris on the racetrack. It comes on lap number 96 of the Hooters 500 here in Atlanta.
As a truck company for 90 years, we understand the value of a strong frame. A reassuring strength for towing, whether you're on road or off road. GMC Truck, the strength of experience.
What makes a mountain man a mountain man? Let's find out. Must a mountain man be a big burly guy with an axe? A man of steel? Must a mountain man even be a man? Actually, the only requirement is the right beer. Smooth bush beer or easy drinking bush light. So, head for the mountains and learn what makes the typical mountain man anything but.
I drive a race car for a living. I depend on the parts and pieces in my car. And I feel so confident knowing that Pennzoil is protecting the moving parts inside of my engine. Pennzoil's quality and protection give me the confidence I need to do my job without second thought. The protection that Pennzoil offers this race team makes us feel great. That's why I have the confidence to use it on the street and in my race car. I recommend Pennzoil to everybody. Pennzoil, performance, protection, quality.
This is where America gets together. Every weekend throughout America, there is great NASCAR racing.
I wouldn't be anywhere else.
The Hooters 500 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway under the 4th caution period of the afternoon because of a 6-car crash here on the main straightaway that involved Darrell Waltrip, Dick Trickle, Ken Schrader, Richard Petty, Wally Dallenbach, and Rich Bickle. And here is the replay.
There we see the Ken Schrader car, the white car, spinning. Also Dick Trickle, the dark car, spinning. As they go down the straightaway, other cars start going in the crash. There's Darrell Waltrip spinning. Dallenbach hits him. Bickle's in the mix. And Darrell and Richard Petty runs into Darrell Waltrip and knocks the oil cooler off his car. The oil goes back on the exhaust system, and there's where the fire came from.
Look at that hood way up in the air off Schrader's car.
Schrader spinning. He finally comes to a stop.
Well, Kenny Schrader got knocked around pretty good in that crash, and here's Jerry Punch.
And the good news, Bob, is Kenny is okay. Kenny, what happened out there?
Trickle's right behind me.
and I went in turn on top, and he was like in the middle, and I turned from the top to the middle to get underneath Dale Jarrett, and he must have been a little tight. We just run out of space coming off 4. I mean, he caught me in the left rear just a little bit, but it's real tight over there, and I was trying to get underneath somebody, and he was trying to get underneath me, and we just run out of space.
Took some pretty heavy looks. Did you see Richard Petty come by?
No, I just saw a lot of smoke, a lot of stuff hitting.
Ken Schrader's car heavily damaged. He's okay. We might mention that Wally Dallenbach, Dick Trickle, and the other drivers most of them have walked past here and smiled and waved, even in defeat, guys.
And there's Ken Schrader's badly damaged Kodiak Chevrolet. He'll be back with the Rick Hendrick team in 1993.
With AC Delco as the sponsor.
Now here's a replay from the in-car camera of Richard Petty.
Oh, this ought to be good. There's Dallenbach right in front. Uh-oh, smoke. Oh, that's Rich Bickley ran into.
I thought it was Waltrip too.
Well, he hit Waltrip after Bickle had hit Waltrip and spun him around, yeah.
And you can see the flames coming out. We'll take a look at it again here in a moment. The car of Wally Dallenbach Jr. on the rollback. He took a good knock too. But everybody apparently is okay after 6 cars involved in a tangle here on the main straightaway. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
Today, performance cars come in a variety of designs, sizes, and even prices. So do Goodyear Eagles, the world's most successful line of performance tires. There are all-season Goodyear Eagles, new ultra-performance Goodyear Eagles. There are Goodyear Eagles for the classic and for the contemporary. No matter what performance car you own, there's a Goodyear Eagle priced for you. It's another reason we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
Pronto Auto Parts. From coast to coast, your local Pronto Auto Parts store features friendly service and quality auto parts at lower prices.
Hey, use a spark plug that's tested to fire clean for 30,000 miles. Motorcraft. Motorcraft quality parts from Ford.
When you need to know about auto parts, ask the pro at Pronto.
The biggest names in sports are on ESPN Radio.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I'll only hold a grudge till I die is what most of the players say.
I'm closer to 50 than I am to 20. Eating some peanuts, buying hamburgers. You can do it too. Can I get an amen? Amen.
Sports Radio, ESPN.
I want to do radio, baby, and beyond and on.
We welcome you back on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Just couldn't ask for more perfect weather than this to end the season. It's a little bit cool, but you expect that this time of year. But boy, after Thursday when we arrived here, when it was just pouring down rain, we wondered if it was going to be nice for today, but it is perfect racing weather. The points as of now. Allison is on top. He is running in second position. Alan Kulwicki is fifth. Elliott is fourth, Gant third, Martin first. So you can see that the first 5 in points there running in the top 5, and Kyle Petty is running in 15th position. So as of right now, Davey Allison still on top in the battle for the Winston Cup. There's Wally Dallenbach Jr.'s badly damaged Keystone Ford that was involved in the accident here on the main straightaway.
So it's not a beautiful day for some people, Bob.
Yeah, that's for sure. But the good news is that everybody is apparently okay from that crash. Again, we had an accident on the second lap that sent Brett Bodine to the hospital. Here's Jerry.
Well, we've already seen Davey Allison, guys, avoid a couple of incidents. He could certainly have been knocked out already in the first 100 laps. You may be asking, does Davey have a good luck charm? We've all seen rabbit's feet. We've seen Buckeyes. But, guys, have you seen a good luck pumpkin? That's what's in the Haviland pits. Now, when they went to Phoenix a couple of weeks ago, they picked this good luck pumpkin up at a Mexican restaurant on Friday. We all know what happened. He won the race, reassumed the lead in the points championship. They painted a happy face on the front, and they painted a sad face, what's left of it, on the back. And this pumpkin has hit the wall a couple times. You can take a look there. But right now, while Davey's running well, they have the happy face showing. And believe me, folks, this pumpkin has been guarded more than the race car the past 2 weeks. So Davey's good luck charm so far working its magic. Guys.
Yeah, it's holding for him so far. Allison still on top of the point standings.
You know, as nervous as Davey was to begin the race, I'm sure when he drove through that second lap crash and avoided that, all the nervousness went away. He was no longer nervous.
I mentioned also that Hut Strickland also was sent to the local hospital in addition to Brett Bodine to be checked out for just an observation and the possibility of some injuries that they're not aware of here at the racetrack. Business gets relined for the start.
Business is fixing to pick up because we're going back green flag racing. Dale Earnhardt still a lap down to the leader, Mark Martin. Pulls up alongside Martin, going to try to get his lap back.
He's in 15th position, Benny. There are 14 cars now on the lead lap.
And if you're just joining us and you've noticed that Ned isn't saying a whole lot today, it's not because he's mad at us, I don't think. Ned is suffering from some laryngitis and couldn't utter hardly a sound yesterday and last night, but we're glad you got at least what you got today.
It's amazing. The biggest race of the year. And
not the way it goes.
Go away, yeah.
As they're getting ready to go to restart, Darrell Waltrip's car sitting on the pit road, and they're trying to adjust the toe in on it. The hood's damaged, the rear end's damaged, but they're trying to get him back on the racetrack. There's the Western Auto Chevrolet.
Well, the attendance here will far exceed last year's attendance of 122,300. The track officials estimated they would sell 60,000 hot dogs, 40,000 hamburgers, 100,000 sodas, 800 pizzas, 40,000 cups of coffee, and 40,000 cups of hot chocolate for this event. And that was before they learned that Benny would be having lunch here.
Okay, let's go.
Green flag waves.
Gets in front of Mark Martin.
Big cluster of cars behind the leaders. Bobby Hamilton, Harry Gant, Bill Elliott. That number 9 car is being driven by Chad Little and has Mayflower Moving sponsorship on it. And speaking of moving, there is Ernie Irvin.
He's moving through the pack, isn't he?
Forward body alongside.
Kyle Petty almost moved into the wall in between turns 3 and 4. He really did a great job of driving that car. I don't know if there's something wrong with it or not. But
yes, there is. There's something wrong with Kyle Petty's car. He's just not up to speed.
You can see him there on the outside, the black car with the green numbers. Here he is now going into turn 3. Might have got a little bit of help there from Sterling Marlin.
Oh, yeah.
That's why he went so high. Yeah. Okay.
Got a little bit of a bump from him.
Yep.
He was still trying to get his heart beating down in turns 1 and 2 when he started slowing down.
Kyle's running okay now, looks like. That's Rusty Wallace right beside him, now behind him. As we look from the Phillips 66 in-car camera being carried by Jimmy Hensley. Good run for Jimmy. He's being shown in 12th position.
No sponsorship yet for that team for 1993. Cale Yarborough Motorsports, they're looking, hoping to keep things together.
There's a host of Pontiacs. Kyle Petty, Rusty Wallace, Michael Waltrip.
Lots of announcements made here at Atlanta in the final race. Among them, Harry Gant will be switching to Chevrolet next year.
And big surprise, Rick Mast, after he won the pole, said they'd be switching to Fords.
Really?
Yeah. Huh. The Richard Jackson team.
Bill Davis, remember, he's the guy that owns the number 1 car, the Baby Ruth Ford on the Busch Grand National Circuit. He signed a 5-year deal with Maxwell House as Bobby Labonte as his driver to run Winston Cup. 5 years.
And the worst-kept secret in racing, Rick Wilson as the replacement for Richard Petty. That was officially announced on Thursday.
Derek Cope very high in turns 1 and 2, almost got the wall of the Purelator Chevrolet.
Watching Harry Gant, Bill Elliott, and Alan Kulwicki.
Yeah, looks like Kyle Petty's back up to speed now. We don't see him on the screen, but I said a moment ago, looked like he had a problem. I think he was just trying to get his heart pumping again, get his composure. That's why he's slowing down in 1 and 2.
2, 3, 4, and 5 right there. Allison, Gant, Elliott, and Kulwicki. The leader of the race is Mark Martin.
There again, the Skull Bandit had the best race car down here in March. Did not win the race. Bill Elliott won the race. Can't finish second, but he had by far the best race car. Now, if they can get it back to that level, he might be trouble.
Race is just about a third over. There are 328 laps in this event, and we're now at 109. If points were awarded right now, Allison would be the winner of the Winston Cup. He's running second. Kulwicki would finish second in the points. He's running fifth, and Elliott would be third. And now Mark Martin is trying to put Dale Earnhardt a lap down again.
He's closed up on the back bumper of Earnhardt. And Earnhardt's running high, Martin running low.
And a good battle back of those guys as Alan Kulwicki has pulled alongside of Bill Elliott and now tries to take the position away. They come down the back stretch, and boy, it looked like they may have touched as they came off the corner.
They were awfully close, there's no doubt about it.
There was $1 million at stake. The Winston Cup champion not only wins that title, which is in the stock car world enough, he also wins $1 million.
We see Kulwicki going down. That time drove in alongside Bill Elliott. Here they come off the corner once again. Very, very close to touching as they go down the back straightaway. You see Kulwicki back off this as they go in the corner. Remember that second lap crash between Brett Bodine and Rick Wilson? You see, he doesn't want to go in there and not have that air to lean on. That's why he backs off going in the corner.
Now, Allen, I was going to say gets cleanly around him, but no, Elliott just won't give up while Ricky Rudd says, I may make this a 3-horse race.
I say Rick Wilson, I meant Rick Mast.
You can say Rick Wilson next year.
And now, Ricky Rudd pulls on the back of Kulwicki, gets him a little bit loose. He tries to take that spot away.
Remember a year ago at this time, Ricky Rudd was in the thick of the points battle, but 1992 has not been as good to him. He is 7th in points, and John Kernan is with the King.
Well, Richard Petty is sitting down here in the garage area. Richard, they're working on the car. Apparently, you're okay, but you're going to try and get the SDP Pontiac fixed.
Well, we're looking to see what's going on. It busted the oil cooler in the radiator and it caught on fire, and I drove down there to a fire truck and got it put out. But I don't know that when it busted the oil cooler that it didn't run out of oil and mess up the bearings. So first thing I got to do is put it back together and then crank it up, and still got oil pressure. We might go out and run a few laps. The oil pressure's messed up. Naturally, that's all over with, but no front fenders or nothing on it right now. It's tore up pretty bad.
You know, you'd rather go out in a blaze of glory, but you're almost out in a blaze today.
Yeah, it wasn't the kind of blaze of glory I wanted to go out in, but the main thing is nobody got hurt in the wreck, and I've spent 35 years doing this, and I'm still walking around talking, so good Lord looked after me for a long time.
Now, if you don't get it fixed to get back out, will you still be hanging around for the end of the race ceremonies that were scheduled?
Well, we'll sort of play that beer according to what everybody wants to do, and we'll take care of everybody.
All right, Richard Petty, despite the car catching on fire and sitting here in the garage in his last race, manages to flash that famous Petty smile.
And I hope that they can get that car back out and running. I would like to see the car on the racetrack when the checkered flag drops. Well, Mark Martin is still the leader of the race, and he has not yet put Dale Earnhardt a lap down, and Dale is in 15th.
He was alongside Earnhardt just a moment ago, not able to get by.
But now that those tires have heated up, Earnhardt is running that high groove again, and he's been able to pull away just a little bit.
Let's watch the telemetry one more time. 183. 190 miles an hour just at the end of the back straightaway.
And that was just about the same as it was early in the race, as the sun will start to play a factor in this race, and in fact it is already.
I tell you what, it's going to be miserable at the last 100 miles of this race. The drivers will be driving in turn 3 with very little visibility.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, easy for me to say.
Bill Elliott has just taken 3rd position from Harry Gant. Gant is 4th, Kulwicki is 5th, and the top 5 are all in the points race. This is an incredible adventure on a Sunday afternoon for NASCAR Winston Cup Racing, and we're delighted you can join us. Back in just a moment.
Let me get this straight, pal. You want a late model, state inspected and warranted car. You want payments as low as $25 a week, and you don't want to pay any more than $39.95? Where do you think you are, bud? Thrift Auto Sales?
Thrift Auto Sales, home of the new car dealer surplus, where your job is your credit, and you never pay more than $39.95.
How they do that?
Thrift Auto Sales, 12011 Jefferson Avenue, next to the friendly folks at Peninsula Dodge.
Bloopers and KOs, an ESPN home video filled with super knockouts and blooper knockouts. Boxing bloopers and KOs. A winner.
At Atlanta Motor Speedway, 120 laps are completed in the Hooters 500 with Mark Martin leading Bill Elliott.
Kulwicki is currently in 3rd, Ricky Rudd 4th, and Ernie Irvin is 5th. Davey Allison has fallen back to 6th.
He's lost several positions here in the last few laps. I don't know whether there's anything wrong with the car or whether he's just...
He went down in turn 1 just a couple of laps ago and looked like something happened in the car. He got loose, pushed or something. He got out of the gas, and that's when most of these fellas went by him. Now he's able to maintain and run along with them. What happened to Davey down in turns 1 and 2?
Manny, you're exactly right. Davey had a little bit of a push going in the corner, had to back out of the throttle. No need to take a chance here. We're still just past the 120 lap mark, but you're exactly right. Good eyes. The car went in the corner, and the car began to push as Elliott was going by Davey Allison. Davey had to back out of the throttle just a little bit, which allowed Bill to zip right on by almost effortlessly.
Bill Elliott now is in 2nd position, and Davey Allison is back to, what, 6th?
Yep, back in 6th spot.
We're getting closer to the halfway lap. If you have entered the Gillette Halfway Challenge and you are called at home and can name the driver who won the Gillette Halfway Challenge Award, coming up, you will win the new Chevrolet Lumina.
Their leader, Mark Martin, with Babylon Ford.
Good lead over 2nd place man Bill Elliott, and Dale Earnhardt continues just to inch away a little bit from Mark Martin. Earnhardt just hoping for a caution. He's already made up 1 lap, now wants to make up the other one.
Earnhardt might have the fastest car on the racetrack currently.
Yep.
Elliott and Kulwicki trying to run down the leader.
2nd and 3rd in the race, and 3rd and 2nd in the point standings.
I wonder if they're asking, in Bill Elliott's situation, asking Tim Brewer, Alan Kulwicki's situation, asking Paul Andrews, their crew chiefs, what's happening to Davey? Where is he? What's he running? I wonder if they're asking every lap, where's Davey? I wonder if they're keeping track, or they're just concentrating on what they're about, their job.
Well, I don't know whether or not the drivers know, but you fans at home sure know, because we keep you updated as to the points as of right now. Allison on top by 15. He's 6th in the race. Kulwicki is 3rd. Then Elliott, Martin, Gant, and Kyle Petty, who's having the worst race among those. Kyle Petty is in 18th position. There's the leader of the race, Mark Martin.
And he's moved from 6th to 5th in the points as of right now. There's Bill Elliott, 2nd place car.
And then 3rd, Kulwicki, and 4th, Ricky Rudd. Martin won this race last year, didn't he?
Yes, he did. for it.
He's a lap down in 16th position.
One of those guys that made that early pit stop.
Yep.
Yeah, there were a bunch of good cars. Kyle Petty was one of them that got caught down in that position.
And they had no choice. They were out of gas.
Yep.
Earnhardt, that's how he got 2 laps down. He ran out of gas, and they couldn't get the car restarted. He lost 2 laps on that first pit stop, where most of them only lost to 1 lap.
And right now, Earnhardt is moving away from Mark Martin. Martin might be slowing down a little bit because Bill Elliott is catching him.
And Kulwicki's not letting Bill Elliott go any place that he's not shadowing him.
Staying right there with him.
Well, we timed 5 consecutive laps and now bring you the results with a Big A Auto Parts on-track interval. We timed Martin and Elliott to see whether or not the interval was closing down, and indeed it did close down on 5 consecutive laps. It went from an interval of 2.4 seconds on lap 120 down to 1.8 seconds on lap 124.
Just a tick over a half a second. And we can see how consistent Bill Elliott was. 32-1 every lap except that one, and that's when he passed the slower car, I'm sure.
Now we'll show you the interval between those second and third place competitors and the leader, Mark Martin. Not very much racetrack between them.
No. I tell you what, this has been a classic run for a championship. Bill Elliott, Alan Kulwicki, we couldn't ask any to do any more than they're doing. Just as hard as they can go each and every lap.
And I'm not a big cliche fan, and I almost hesitate to say this, but I don't know how else to make the point that the cream has risen to the top in this race, because the guys that are running for the points championship are running right up there toward the front and in the front in some cases.
And Dale Earnhardt he would definitely like to get a victory today, trying to salvage some of his season in 1992. Only 1 victory for the defending Winston Cup champion this year.
Here's an Autolite field summary for you. Watch for your favorite driver. This is how they crossed the line last time around, 1 lap ago.
Back in 15th on the lead lap.
There's Dale. He has pulled away from Mark by a whole bunch.
There goes Earnhardt. Dick Trickle's out of the race. And Ricky Rudd is slowing. Our 4th place car slowing dramatically.
The winner at Dover not too long ago, Ricky Rudd. The guy that is 7th in the point standings is off the pace, and the report is he's lost his power steering.
Oh, man. It's trouble trying to wrestle that thing around with no power steering. The problem is used to they didn't have power steering, but they adjusted the front end so he could drive the car. Now, with power steering, the front end adjustment makes it almost impossible to turn it, like most cars on the street.
But remember, a few years ago, of course, it has changed some with radial tires in particular, with the different settings of the front end to accommodate the radials. But Earnhardt lost power steering, wasn't it, at Bristol, one of the toughest tracks on the circuit, went on to win the race.
Yeah, they won the race. Yep. Rudd has an 82-point lead on Darrell Waltrip in the point standings. There's King Richard Petty, who is at the moment out of the Hooters 500, being led by Mark Martin.
Look for the sign.
Professional service.
The red, blue, and white.
A friendly face.
It's a good sign.
Your Big A Pro.
Keeps your car running right.
Nice to know he uses top quality Big A parts.
Big A. The sign that keeps your car running right.
Someone to depend on when you need to depend on your car.
All of these championship-winning drivers have one thing in common: Goodyear Racing Eagles. The race-winning technology that's found in the Goodyear Racing Eagles can also be found in the world's best-selling line of high-performance street tires, Goodyear Eagle Street Radials. The champions know And it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
Okay, so these guys may know a little more than we do about Bud. It's the rice.
It's the hops.
It's the rice. But of course, we know a lot about other things.
Hi, can I buy you something to drink? Yeah, like maybe a light beer?
Budweiser.
Or maybe you'd like a Bud.
Someday, boy, you're gonna learn from your mistakes.
As a truck company for 90 years, we understand the value of a strong frame. A reassuring strength for towing, whether you're on road or off road. GMC Truck, the strength of experience.
Trying to win his second Winston Cup. He did it in 1988. Bill Elliott leads the Hooters 500. Second place belongs to Alan Kulwicki. And Mark Martin, who was leading this race just a few laps ago, has fallen all the way back to third position. So Bill Elliott now is at the front. And here's how Mark lost the lead.
Going in turn 3, Bill Elliott just pulls up on the outside. Martin realizes he's there as they come off the corner. Elliott has the momentum and just goes right by.
Not too long after that, Alan Kulwicki took the second position away from Mark Martin. Now here's Davey Allison involved in a battle with Jeff Bodine in number 15. Lake Speed is also right there. And the number 12 car driven by Jimmy Spencer.
Spencer having another great run in Bobby Allison's car, currently showing him 8th spot.
And this battle between Davey Allison and Jeff Bodine is for 6th.
So Bodine could get by, Spencer get by, put him back to 8th. Ooh, that tighten up this point down, wouldn't it?
It would appear to me that several of these cars need pit stops. We're going to be expecting that.
Won't be long, I tell you.
Another 8 or 10 laps.
Looks like Bodine is able to make the pass. He has. Now Davey's back in 7th.
Yep. While we watch this, we will tell you that Ricky Rudd has been able to hold on to 5th position despite the loss of the power steering a few laps ago.
I think he adjusted to it pretty quickly. It had to be a shock when that thing went out. You know, what in the world has gone wrong here? Yep. Is it going to turn when it gets to the corner? But once he learned what it was, he has adjusted to it and still in 5th position.
Little doubt as to who the sentimental favorite is to win this race and the championship today. It is Georgia's Bill Elliott from Dawsonville. Now there's 2nd and 3rd, Kulwicki, a Wisconsin driver, and Mark Martin, originally from Indiana. Jerry, what's the problem on that car?
Well, Mark Martin has radioed and told his crew the car is getting very, very loose. Steve Mills told me they will plan to bring him in around lap 147. That's about 4 laps, about 3.5 laps away. So we'll watch to see him and bring the Valvoline car in and put some fresh tires on in about 3 laps.
From his in-car camera, you guys see evidence of him fighting the thing?
No, it doesn't look that way, is it? Okay, now if we awarded the points right now, Davey Allison would win by 6 points over Kulwicki, by 11 over Bill Elliott. This thing is very, very close.
It is tightening up.
Whoa. 6 points.
There's Davey. And there is Spencer in the number 12 car. Speed.
Once again, Lake a lap down to these 2 cars, but his car running DQ as well as Allison's or Spencer's.
Just as we were talking about Morgan Shepherd, you know, slowing on the racetrack just before the big wreck happened. Well, Morgan is still out there running for his fans. He is 3 laps down, currently being shown in 27th position, but the sit-go forward is still out there running.
There we are. Morgan Shepherd inside the Citgo Ford.
He's running pretty good now. I don't know what might have happened if he had an ignition to go out or what happened, but he seems to be running fairly strong right now.
Well, those 24-degree banks don't look very steep when they're running that speed, do they?
No, they don't. Not from inside that race car. Believe me, that's exactly the view you see from inside that seat.